So I got rejected. It happens sometimes, and by sometimes I mean all the time. Now, usually with rejection, you tell yourself that, I'm going to learn from this. I'm going to move on. I'll get it next time while you sit on your couch binging on Netflix, eating Cheetos in your pajamas, usual rejection stuff. Now, this story involves some of that too, but there was this one time where being rejected really did work out for me. And I don't know if I'd even be up on this stage if it hadn't. So, as for the story, it was this time last year, and I was finishing my sophomore year of high school, and I was in an interesting place at the time because, for me, as a musician, my only outlet was playing in my bedroom to my stuffed animals. So I wanted to move outside that, and of course, the logical next step from playing in your bedroom to your stuffed animals is to audition for the SF Jazz High School All-Star Band. Logical, right? So, and at this point, I had never been the most dedicated at practicing. I love piano, I always have, I've always played it, I've loved jazz my whole life, but I had never been the most dedicated to my craft. So it was a big change when I was practicing for hours a day in order to make the songs that I wanted to for this audition. I labored over every note, every chord, every rhythm, every aspect of my playing needed to be changed. I wanted it to be perfect because I thought that getting into this band would change my whole life. So audition day comes, and I go to the SF Jazz building in Hayes Valley, and, they kill you with the audition process. So you walk in the front door, and you check in at the receptionist. They have you sit in the lobby, and you can see through the glass that they're auditioning someone in the other room. You sit there, and you sit there, and you sit there. Your hands get cold. You start to sweat. You're twiddling your thumbs. And when you're nice and uncomfortable, they bring you back. Now, when I said bring you back, most of you thought I meant to the audition room. This would be too easy for the SF Jazz people. They lead you down this long, dark hallway. And they lead you into this tiny little room with a bench, a piano, and the brightest fluorescent lights you have ever seen. I felt like I was being interrogated in there. So you sit down, you play for a little bit, tell yourself you're warming up, but really you're just getting colder because you're so nervous. You sit in there for minutes and minutes, they let you get nice and uncomfortable once again, and then the person comes in. They say they're ready for you. I was led out of the room down this long, dark prison hallway, and they opened the door, and I was blinded. I walked from the darkest hallway I've ever been into a room surrounded by glass walls in the middle of summer in the mid-afternoon. I look to my right. There are 3 or 4 or 5 or however many panelists there were at SF Jazz, and I look at the piano, and I go and I sit down. So to break from the story for 1 second, there was this great, legendary jazz saxophone player. His name was Charlie Parker, and he said, you master the music, you master your instrument, and then you forget it all, and you just play. Now, I don't know if I did the first thing. I don't know if I did the second thing, although I certainly tried, but the forgetting part, I did that. So I sat down at the piano, and I started to play. Everything I had worked for in the past months, in the past years of being a piano player, went into that 10-minute audition. And I felt great. I forgot about it, and I let myself go. And I played the last note. And in the most condescending voice I have ever heard in my entire life, the lady on the SF Jazz panel says to me, well, you survived. I was crushed. I felt lost. I felt as if, I felt like everything I had worked for was gone. I felt like if I wasn't good enough for them, maybe I wasn't good enough at all. I felt like I should quit. But things were happening elsewhere at the same time. I had this great friend from middle school. We played together in the jazz combo, this great drummer named James, and he called me up at around this time, and he wanted to start a band. So I go over there and to his house, and we start playing, And we're having a great time, and I say, well, what about a bass player? And he calls up this guy who he knew, who he had played with once. This great guy named Sal, amazing bass player. And he comes over, and we had a band. We practiced every Wednesday. And it was during those practices that I realized what that audition had given me. I was so tunnel visioned on getting into that SF jazz band that I wanted so badly, that I wanted to get outside my bedroom and my stuffed animals and experience the world, that I had never thought that all that practicing, all that hard work, all that dedication and those hours of laboring over every note, every rhythm would have made me a better piano player. I was playing more smoothly, more crisply, more confidently than I ever had before. I could not have dreamed of playing with such a band of amazing musicians before that point. But I was doing it then. We started out with the first 2 shows that we had booked, and those shows led to more shows, led to handing out more business cards, getting more phone numbers, more calls, which led us to a show that we played this past Christmas at this law firm in Marin. And we get to this mansion, and we're like, how did we get this? And we walk inside, and we start playing. Now, I don't know if the stars aligned or if it was intervention or what, but we really sounded, well, we sounded great. I had never heard myself playing music that I really loved. I felt like I was finally playing music that I could be proud of. No excuses, no, I'll do it better next time, no, oh, I didn't like those guys, I didn't like that style of music, nothing. I was proud of it. I liked it. So, during one of our breaks, as people are coming up and talking to the band, this woman comes up to me, and we get into a conversation, and I was curious because she looked way too young to be there at a party where the average age was, 80. And so we started talking, and I found out that she was the hostess's daughter's piano teacher, something like that, and she owned a music school. Now, the next part happened really fast, and honestly, I don't quite remember it myself, but I walked out of that house as a piano teacher, and I was very, very late to my second show that day. So I want you guys to hold on for 1 second. I want to show you something. So now maybe the point of that story was clear, or maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But if I hadn't devoted myself so totally to something, only to have been turned away, I don't know if I would be where I am today. Today, I'm a professional jazz piano player. I get to play in a band of guys that I love all over the Bay Area playing my favorite music. Today, I'm a piano teacher. I get to spread what I love to wonderful young kids who maybe someday will understand and realize their passion for music just like I have. So I say, thank you, SF Jazz. I say thank you for helping me understand what it means to be dedicated to my craft and for showing me that sometimes our greatest failures can lead to our greatest successes. And I want to show you something really quick. It's what I love. It's a song, it's called Round Midnight by Thelonious Monk, and I hope you enjoy it.